Hey everybody, the next update on my 1966 Lincoln Continental doesn't actually have anything to do with anything mechanical or restoring the actual car. It's going to be more of a history lesson in regards to this specific car and something that Lincoln did for their customers back when you would order or buy a new car off the dealership back in the 60s and potentially before. So come along. So when I first brought the car home, I noticed that there was this name, Gilbert Crispy. And I was confused by this because that's not a name that I had heard. So I wanted to do a little bit of research. I do have a history in Fords. I used to drag race. I used to drag race a Mustang. And so the name Carroll Shelby immediately came to mind when I saw Gilbert Crispy. As we all know who Carroll Shelby is. I then thought of Jack Roush because of the Roush Mustang. And I thought that maybe Gilbert Crispy was someone that was special in the Lincoln world. But as you can see, there's nothing here pertaining to Gilbert Crispy. So it got me confused and got me very curious as well. When the search on Google yielded nothing, I came back to double check to make sure I was spelling the name correctly, and sure enough, I was. So I started posting to the Lincoln Continental forum to try and find out more information about who exactly is this Gilbert Crispy person. And that's when I found out that when you bought or ordered a car back then, Lincoln would make a nameplate and put it on the passenger side just above the glove box with your name. So Gilbert Crispy is the original owner of this car. So when I realized Gilbert Crispy was the original owner of the car, I immediately texted my girlfriend's father because it is the family where I inherited this car. And so I asked him, I'm like, hey, what does the name Gilbert Crispy mean to you? And that's when he said that was his grandfather's name. And that's when I shared with him a picture of the nameplate that's just above the glove box. And he was pretty excited to hear that that was still a part of the car even to this day. And so fast forward to now. I learned that not only did Lincoln do the nameplate for the original owner when they purchased or ordered the car back in the 60s, but they also offered a trophy or a hood ornament on a marble base with a nameplate of the actual original owner. Unfortunately, I do not have that original marble base with the hood ornament and the nameplate, but I went and had one made. So let me go ahead and show that to you now. While this may look original, this is actually not the original base and hood ornament and nameplate from Gilbert Crispy. What I did is I went on eBay and I got a couple of these bases, a couple of these ornaments, and the idea was I wanted to make the best one out of both. So if I had found a really good base and a really good ornament from different ones, I was going to match them together. And then what I did is I went to a trophy shop and had them make the nameplate, and I had them match it to the same type of font and size, and just to have the same look and feel as the original nameplate, so this matches. And so this is going to stay with the car because I will be putting this car into car shows. This will be part of like more of a marketing display to show off with the car. However, I did something else in regard to the hood ornament and base. So check this out. Now, before showing you what I was just mentioning, I want to give a little history lesson on the car. So Gilbert Crispy, the original owner, my girlfriend's great grandfather, purchased this car in 1966, and it was garaged every single day of its life until his unfortunate passing in 1978. And in 1978, it immediately went over to his wife, which is my girlfriend's great grandmother. And she owned the car for about, I think, 4 or 5 years. And I don't actually think that she drove it during that time. And then right around that 1982 timeframe is when it was given to who we call Uncle Richard, which is my girlfriend's father's brother-in-law. And he had the car, and I think he drove it for around a couple months in 1982. And then it sat in storage where I unearthed it just about 6 months ago. So from 1982 until 2024, it sat in an inside storage facility in Santa Clara, California. So that's why there's no rust, and that's why it hasn't been weathered, because it's been in effectively a controlled climate environment because it's California. And so one of the things that I wanted to do is I wanted to do something special for the family. And so as you saw, I made that marble base for a marketing display when I'm at car shows. And so I decided to have a second one made for my girlfriend's father. And today of all days is his actual birthday. So I have one made that I'm going to be giving to him. So let's check it out. So what you see here on the left is the one that I had mentioned previously that I'm going to be keeping with the car for car shows.
And the one that you see here on the right is the one that I had made for my girlfriend's father for his birthday today. And so my hope is that this is something that he will take to his work. Where he works at a machine shop in Santa Clara, and the owner of the machine shop is Uncle Richard. So they've worked together for over 50 years. So I'm really hoping that he takes this to the machine shop so that him and Uncle Richard can enjoy it together.
I hope you enjoyed this little history lesson on the car and the personalization that Lincoln did for their customers back in the 60s. So stay tuned for more content on the restoration project of my 1966 Lincoln Continental. Thanks, guys.